hey, I've got this for a reason. I'm going to use this. Isn't an intimidation factor. I'm going to use this with it being such a crazy world and all the stuff that's going on today, whether it's politically or just, in the world today, everything is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
How do you keep the positive message in your music? What is it that you reach for or inspires you to stay that way?
Man, I mean, there's times where I just look around and I'm like, what are we doing? Where are we headed?
Right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes I don't know. And I think my kids really help with that. Matter of fact, a couple of days ago, we came back from Belgium and I took my son with me all day. I let Asia be with the girls and do their girl thing. And my son was just in the back seat and he said, "Thanks for a good life, Dad."
Oh,
just out of nowhere, man. And I had to stop the car and look at him like.
And how old is he?
He's 6.
6.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, at the end of the day, I'm doing something right and we're doing something right. And that's what I try to focus on. Like, I try not to even focus on all the other stuff, Right.
Well, with the stuff that we used to do, go back to that very briefly. But do you take the work that you did with the boys way back then and kind of like push it towards everything? Because you're always in the community, even in all your videos that you do. You're in the community. You're doing a lot of humanitarian work. So, I mean, what have you transitioned with that? So,
now we have kids and we go to our kids' school and everybody's familiar with the work we do. It's funny. The first year my kids went, because our kids go to the same school. Yeah. The first year they went there, the other parents didn't know what we did. Because we're always available to be volunteers. We're always, we're always there to drop them off, pick them up. And so they were like, well, what are these kids, because we look young too. So we almost look like teenage parents. So they're looking at us like we dress a certain way. Like he's not dressed like he's going into an office. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and it wasn't until they started seeing us, like we were on the news, on Fox News a couple times.
Saw it.
We were in the paper, in the Independent, and then Springs Magazine. So then more and more parents and teachers started seeing this, and they were like, "Oh, now we get it." So then they check out the music. Then they invite us to the school. We perform at International Tour Day. We perform in all these different events at the school. And so from that work, then we got invited to perform at a lot of schools at District 20 because so many kids deal with bullying and commit suicide. There's so many suicides going on.
It's an epidemic. Yeah,
Man,
we just had a couple just in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
my kids.
And so just 2 days ago, I took a trip down to Pueblo with one of my friends who works at a school there, and to go possibly perform there and do workshops and so I applied that because a lot of times it's at alternative schools. So you're dealing with kids from group homes, you're dealing with kids who come from broken homes, who've never seen a healthy family structure. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think my experience in the group home world helped me see and understand like that language or what those kids come from. You know what I mean? Like dealing with their caseworkers and different things like that. So, I definitely apply that into the music and into everything we do,
And we thank you for that because it is really nice to hear nothing but positivity and nothing but uplifting messages. And it's not just positivity that you're talking about yourself and we're doing this and we're doing that. Right. You're sending out a message to uplift other people.
Yeah.
Like your music is one of those musics that does that.
Yeah.
So man, thank you for that.
For sure. And
Absolutely.
I mean, and I think the key to it too is that it's not cheesy. It's not in a cheesy way.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not in the ABC. Here we are, like. You know what I mean? Like it still has a good beat to it, and we're still actually rapping and actually singing with talent, not just like because I feel like a lot of times you have people who say they do quote unquote like cliche gimmick positive stuff or like you know what I mean like. But then it becomes like so cheesy that it's like, oh, come on.
It's like it might as well be a drink your milk and brush your teeth commercial.
Like,
in the long run, it's preaching.
Right.
They're preaching something they're really not being a part of.
Right. And just because, like, say, for example, okay, I see that somebody did a positive song and it worked. So now I'm going to do a positive song.
Right. You can tell when it's not, it's not coming from the heart. You're not living that lifestyle that you're talking about right now.
Yeah. So we're just really just trying to be, just trying to be us, you know?
Well, I mean, it's kind of contradicting. Like Eminem. Like he used to talk crap about gay people and all this other crap, and then the next thing you know, he's on stage with Elton John, and they're giving each other fake hugs and shit, and like, no, I'm good with the gays now. Don't worry about that.
And I think part of that has to do with management and probably his label enforcing. Listen, this is killing you now. You said something you shouldn't have said. Let's bring it back the other way.
And see, I don't see you. I mean. I don't see you burning bridges.
No, I try not to, man. I mean, I try not to burn bridges, but one thing that happens in life as you grow is that you realize that people try to be around you to take advantage of you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you can't let that happen. So I definitely don't burn bridges, but I also learn my lesson if somebody tries to just, always take from me and never give.
Right. Well, and eventually you outgrow them anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. But also what happens with that is once you outgrow them, then they don't understand why. Then they look at you like, oh, look at him now. He's doing this and he's doing that. I'm like,
too good for me now.
Right. It's like, no, I'm not too good for you, but you're trying to still take from me. You know what I mean?
And you talk about that in some of your songs too. Fair weather friends,
and because that's the reality. That's the reality of life. I mean, you everybody goes through tough times. But when you go through those tough times, nobody's around. Nobody's around to help you out. You know what I mean? But once you're there, then everybody wants to celebrate with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's life. I mean, you hear this story time and time again, with celebrities or with people who made it,
And it's so fast. I mean, there's a huge percentage of musicians who do actually have a hit song or they have a good album and all that stuff, and it can be they're here and gone like that.
Man, it can be,
especially
nowadays, man. I mean, people come and go.
Yeah. What is your opinion of some of this, like the mumble rap? What is it called? What is the
that's
mumble
what they
rap?
call it.
Trap music.
Yeah, trap music and mumble rap. I mean, I feel like I'm so out of. Sometimes I feel like I'm still in tune and I don't know what's going on, and then sometimes I'm like I have no idea what's going on. Like now, obviously I'm familiar with like Lil Yachty and people like that, but just a year ago we played South by Southwest in Texas, which is one of the biggest music festivals, and we were on the show with Lil Yachty, and I had no idea who it was. we were backstage, and I kept telling my friends, like a lot of guys we were with, I was like, "Yo, who's that kid with the pink braids?" And then, I had no clue, but people already knew who he was. And, I mean, I guess there's a place for that stuff,
He's the dude that, was he on Big Boy radio show?
Probably.
And they asked him to do a freestyle because...
Yeah. Oh, I heard it was terrible, yeah.
Yeah, he
froze,
he got like 15 seconds in and like messed himself up.
Oh,
He's like, oh, no, I gotta redo it.
And that's the crazy thing. Like, I feel like so much of that music is... I mean, I guess it may be a different generation because the kids that that are that age, they gravitate towards that and they can relate to it somehow.
See, look, I tried to get him to talk shit about something.
No,
you can't even get him to say anything negative. That's who the guy is.
No, because I try to understand it. I try to understand it.
No, literally, he tries to understand it.
Like we are all trying to understand it, Samir. Come
on. I'm serious, man, but there's something about it that the kids like,
No, they don't have to think. They don't have to think.
Got a good beat.
Got a good beat, and that's it.
They don't have to think about anything. It doesn't.
Well, that's another thing Yachty said. He goes, man, I could say anything I want to in that song as long as it's got a tight beat. They'll listen to it.
But you know what the reality and the sad part about it is. So he's saying that he's saying I can say anything I want, and it catches on. He's selling millions of records, and I'm over here racking my brain, right? And here I am, like I can't reach that level of success.
You're breaking your back, and you're not. Yeah, you're not.
You know what I mean? And I don't know, man. I guess it's just life,
But there's something to be said for the respect that you have over what he has,
for sure.
And the longevity that your music will last over something like that. He's a flash in the pan. That music has got to be here and gone tomorrow.
Yeah,
no problem. Your stuff is it's got some life to it. For sure.
And the incredible part about that is, when I meet artists like that and they find out who we are or listen to our music, they have such a high level of respect for us. And it's incredible to me. Like, a lot of my friends always laugh, like, because there are a lot of young artists out there, young in terms of their age, but, they're so much more popular than us. They have, we perform at festivals with like Joey Badass and a lot of these younger guys, and they've seen us perform and they've heard our music and they respect us, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like the next year, I'm seeing them on award shows. I'm seeing them on all these different things, but I'm still here, and they still have that respect for me, right? And I'm like, but we just don't catch on. They recognize it. Yeah.
It will come around.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I feel like the music, it makes its rounds, just kind of like clothing and weird shit like that, like 70s clothes, like
haircuts,
all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's going to make its way around because like the people that I still listen to, the Far Side, Outkast, like
that music still lives on. I mean,
it's timeless.
Yeah.
And like Far Side, when I was in radio and I did a lot of DJ stuff, I remember it was New Year's Eve, and me and one of my boys were having to cover the whole concert. And we're there, and we go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I for the life of me, I can't remember his name, but he's the one that's got the
big hair.
The big hair. Anyway, so he walks into the bathroom,
yeah.
and he takes care of his business and washes his hands. He's like, "Hey, you guys are with the radio station, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Let's talk." Like we spent like 45 minutes in the bathroom,
nice.
just bullshitting, and finally recording. And he did all these drops for us and stuff, and didn't have to ask him, didn't have to do anything. He was just a person.
Yeah.
And he didn't give a shit about us getting an autograph or pictures or anything like that. So that was like
that's the greatest when artists are still down to earth like that. You know what I mean? Like, and I always get surprised, man, at which artists are down to earth and which artists are not. You know what I mean? Like you can never tell. You can never tell who's gonna be how, and I guess it depends on the day too. But I think when we performed with Snoop the first time, we were like, it was like one of the biggest artists we were gonna open for, and we didn't know how we was gonna go. You know what I mean? It's one of those things like, because sometimes you could perform for an artist that's not as known, and it's like he's in the building, you can't go in that side of the room. I'm like, listen. My backpack is in that room. I'm trying to leave. I really don't care about meeting this person. But with Snoop, by the time we were done performing, we went backstage and he was like, "Come in my room." His family's there. They're chilling. He asked for our CD. He's opening it, playing it right away. He had his camera out and he's filming us, like
partying with him a little bit.
Giving him a shout out. We were like, "Wait a minute, can we get a shout out?" You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, it was after I saw that, I was like, if Snoop can be that cool, like there's no reason, a underground artist should be stuck on himself. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I just always
don't let your ego outgrow your talent.
Never.
Well, then you don't have talent anymore,
right? That's it's gone. Yeah,
and you lose focus on what you're actually talking about because, like you said, with the Fetty rap and Yachty and all that stuff, no one knows what they're actually saying except for maybe like a little bit of the hook.
Right,
you'll get it.
Right,
But what's the rest of it? You're never going to know. No one's really going to care. And like my son listens to that crap.
Of course, because it's on the radio 24/7.
Yeah. And he's like, "Dad, you got to listen to this one." And I'm like, "Not today.
Yeah.
Not today."
Yeah, I mean, and there's times, man. There's times where we'll travel for a week, or my kids. There's music playing everywhere in stores, and you go to the grocery store even. And sometimes I have no idea what these songs are, but my son already knows the lyrics. And I'm like, "How the heck do you know this?" He's like, "Oh, it was on the radio." You know what I mean? And it's just so catchy that they can't help it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. They can't help it. I'm like, okay, here's a CD. I'll play a podcast or something. Just get his mind off of it,
Yeah, and like my son, I don't know if you know, T Suede, he's a rapper, and I couldn't listen to his music when he first started doing it. It was like I don't even, the stuff you're talking about right now, I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to. It's not. And now he's finally evolving and starting to write from his heart. And it's becoming growth, it's becoming actually music, you know, and I can appreciate it now. And so now I jump on board. But man, when he first started, it was like, as a father, you want to be supportive.
Man.
But as a father, you want to be like, what the hell? And
so you were stoked, though. You were stoked. We were going down to Pueblo for some fights, and he pops the CD and he's like, "Yeah, this is tight."
Well, because he has talent. He does have talent. That doesn't mean that I agree with the message that he was putting out. The content's got to be. He does have talent.
You didn't like that your 16-year-old was talking about popping peas and
fill up my cup, and I'd always go, "What are you filling it up with?" And he's all, "Water, Dad. I'm hydrating."
That's the sad part is, once the kid can't relate to the content, but they think they can, they're trying to do stuff to be able to relate to it. That's where the problem comes in. Even being in the group home world is like, I noticed the pattern. Like 90% of the kids in group homes listen to Tech Nine, and 90% of the kids in group homes listen to Brother Lynch Hung, and like all this music that just says like
negative
crazy stuff, and just keep them in this cycle. You know what I mean? Like, of, okay, I'm going to keep doing crazy stuff that I've
and
done.
You wonder why you're having a hard time.
Yeah.
But they don't know the backstory about it.
At
you
all.
know what I'm saying?
At all.
Tech Nine's a legit dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've
met him a million times,
Yeah.
and he's intelligent.
Yeah.
He's nice.
Yeah.
He doesn't, like, if you want to say you talk ghetto,
Yeah.
I hate saying stuff like that, but not
really,
even close, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just like, you can have a normal conversation with him, and he outsmarts you.
Yeah.
and like
incredible guy.
Yeah.
And I think most true musicians are intelligent. It is an art form, and it takes talent, and it takes a certain amount of